I had the privilege of watching Jaya Bhadri in a film called Suman. And I was completely enchanted with her performance because it was unlike the other performances I'd seen. I really marveled at that, and I said, my God, if by going to the Film Institute I can achieve that, that's what I want to do. So far, so good. Then it was the turn for my screen test. It is so atrocious that I continue to marvel that in spite of such an awful screen test, why did they finally take me? And when I asked Taneja Saab that, he says, Nigah hoti hai hamari.
I am from the first batch. Probably many people do not know. When we did not have a hostel, we used to sleep on the floor on the studio.
And every day there were movies to see. You could take your pick. I mean, there were like 3 movies a day. You could walk into any one. It was like being in heaven.
They were the best years of my life. And I learned so much that was taught and so much that was not taught, but one observed or one saw and one learned on one's own.
If the Film Institute had not started in 1961, there was no chance of my becoming a filmmaker.
There is a platform like Institute which has given us the guidance to how to approach perfection through a sense of abstraction.
The role that FTII has played in my life is the source. Source for everything that I wanted to do, source for everything I wanted to be.
From the gate itself, it was like it was entering into a new world.
It's almost a journey from innocence to experience.
And I'm one such example who had no background or no inclination towards filmmaking or even going to cinema halls. But I think I evolved very well as a technician and a filmmaker.
It gives a hope to anyone, if I can get through, anybody can.
Today, what am I? Today, people know what David Dhawan is. I mean, the background is FTII.
I think FTII basically, has given filmmaking a dignity.
फिल्म इंस्टीट्यूट की ट्रेनिंग की मैं समझती हूँ कि जो सबसे बड़ी ताकत है वो ये है कि आपका फाउंडेशन बहुत स्ट्रांग बना देते हैं। उनकी पूरी कोशिश ये रहती है कि किसी तरह से पौधा जड़ पकड़ ले, क्योंकि एक मर्तबा पौधे ने जड़ पकड़ ली तो अंकुर तो फूटेगा ही।
I didn't go there to learn about cinema. I went there to get the tappa of the Film Institute acting course.
The acting course I personally felt was slightly faulty.
Geared too much towards supplying fodder to the industry.
In terms of producing villains, comedians, heroes, heroines.
I don't think so, because the kind of exercises we did were not meant for the film industry in Bombay particularly, but they were for any industry.
But the fact is, there was a great deal of worth in that course, and there was a great deal of worth in Mr. Taneja's presence.
3 months he taught us not to act. Come back from all that copying film actors and then dramatizing it and उन सब को भूल के पहले अपने आप को पहचानो. You be yourself. कोरा कागज की तरह अपने आप हो जाओ. उसके बाद the characters will, you behave like the character. You don't act like the character.
now people also think of it as a career option. But when I went into the FTII, all of us who went in at that time used to go in because of a sort of undying love for cinema.
And I was like a real hungry sponge. I was just going all over the place, absorbing, and just complete acceptance.
Commercial cinema, what it today is, I learned from here. But I had the tools. That is the FTI which gave me how to use it. I knew what rhythm was, what pace was, you know, what a cut would be.
It's like a creative. I never thought that sound is creative in films.
And your ultimate goal is, you know, where you'll replay that sound in a theater, cinema hall. So you are prepared actually to know how it's going to behave down the line.
You see, I am a recordist who started working directly recording on optical film. Then I myself started magnetic recording, then to Nagra, and then to hard disk and Pro Tools and digital recording and all that. I would not have been able to pass through all these stages of improvement, all these stages, if I was not educated at Film and Television Institute.
So I was a completely novice, and as such also when I joined cinematography, I didn't know much about photography at that time, and even I have never taken a still photograph also, because I didn't have a still camera.
This is the growth. It would not have been possible if I was not there for 3 years.
Because it is the only, probably film institute in the, well, not the only, but among the few film institutes in the world which has so much hardware in one place, which has so much access to all the equipment in one place.
For me, I mean, that's one of the most creative moments in my life, you know, doing those student exercises at the institute, because you were so raw, so naive and full of exploration.
I would see a film in the evening, and the next day we would go and try it out and then get it developed in the laboratory, see the results, see whether that is the style you like or not.
You used to learn whatever you wanted to learn, and rest of it you could just throw it out of the window and it didn't make a difference.
FTI became like a red hot tube for me. Like two elements enter from this side and this side becomes one compound. So that's what happened to me. I knew nothing of cinema, and I come out and I thought I know something about cinema.
As early as 1963, we had very well-known filmmakers like Ruti Katak, great writers like Abbas, great actors like Balraj Sahni, and great film aestheticians like Mary Seton, coming to the institute and lecturing there.
When I was in second year, Satit Ray had visited the place. He saw a few diploma films at the FTII, and in the evening when he spoke to the students, he said, well, I was always against the idea of film academics, because I never thought you can teach cinema to somebody. But after I've seen some of your diploma works, I am very convinced that yes, cinema can be taught.
I studied every cut of Breathless on a movie or and I used to, you know, the camera moves up and he cuts and it keeps moving up, and I'm saying, why is this cut so brilliant, until I saw the little movement there.
Like once I was watching a film and I came out in my second year and I asked my friend, how did you find the film? And he said, what do you mean? I was not watching the film. I just noticed exits and entries. And I said, my God, I missed it.
The point was, it was a place that allowed you to make mistakes, critically important, where you could make a mistake and learn from it.
Next film I watched only for exits and entries. But the filmmaking is not that, you know, it's not this. It comes from the spirit, then you realize.
Yes, to begin with, we were dazzled. Yes, to begin with, we were overwhelmed. And yes, inspired.
The first film which influenced